The marble floors of my family's mansions squeaked under my cleaning cloth as my stepmother Victoria's designer heels clicked past. "Emily," she called without looking down, "when you're done with the floors, the silver needs polishing. The Carmichael family is coming for dinner tonight and everything must be perfect." I suppressed a smile, thinking of the Carmichael Bank letterhead sitting on my other desk across town. The one with Emily Harrison, Chief Executive Officer, embossed in gold. "Yes, Mrs. Harrison," I replied meekly, continuing to polish the already spotless floor. How did the CEO of one of the largest banks in the state end up cleaning her own family's house? It's quite a story. 10 years ago when I was 18, my father married Victoria. Within months, she had convinced him that sending me to business school was a waste of money. "Look at her," she'd said, gesturing dismissively. "She's not cut out for the corporate world. Better to save that money for more worthwhile investments." Those worthwhile investments included her son Marcus's failed business ventures, her daughter Sophia's designer wardrobe, and their increasingly lavish lifestyle. My father, besotted with his new wife, agreed. My college fund was drained, my dreams of following in my late mother's footsteps as a banker seemingly destroyed. But Victoria had underestimated me. Badly. I took a job as a bank teller, working days while attending night classes at community college. Within 3 years I had my business degree. Within 5 I was a senior loan officer. And now at 28, I was the youngest CEO in Carmichael Bank's 100-year history. Not that my family knew any of this. To them I was just Emily the housekeeper, the failed daughter who cleaned their home 3 days a week. They never questioned why I only worked Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. Never wondered what I did with the rest of my time. "Emily." Sophia's voice rang out from the top of the grand staircase. "My room needs vacuuming. And try not to touch anything important this time." I looked up at my 24-year-old stepsister, resplendent in what was probably another outfit bought with my father's dwindling credit line. "Of course, Miss Sophia." She paused on the stairs, examining her manicure. "You know, I almost admire you. Accepting your place in life like this. Not everyone can handle knowing they're only good for housework." If only she knew that I'd declined her latest credit card application just yesterday. That her shopping sprees were about to come to an abrupt end. My phone buzzed quietly in my pocket, my actual phone, not the cheap one I carried for this role. A message from my assistant: "Loan committee meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Harrison family application first on agenda." Perfect timing. "Emily." Marcus appeared from the study, my father's old leather chair visible behind him. "The study's a mess. Clean it up before the Carmichaels arrive." Yes, the Carmichaels. My family had no idea that the dinner they were so frantically preparing for was with my board of directors. Or that their desperate loan application would be on my desk tomorrow morning. "Right away, Mr. Marcus." He lingered in the doorway, watching me gather my cleaning supplies. "You know, sometimes I feel bad for you. But then I remember, this is really all you're capable of." I thought about his latest failed business venture, the one that had finally pushed my father to seek a massive loan to cover their mounting debts. The same loan application I would be reviewing tomorrow. "Some people just aren't meant for success," he continued, straightening his expensive tie. "Better to accept your limitations." My other phone buzzed again. My CFO this time. "Final audit of Harrison finances complete. It's worse than we thought. Total debt exceeding $3.2 million. I kept my eyes down, hiding my smile. They had no idea that their comfortable world was about to crumble. That their housekeeper was about to decide their financial fate. Victoria's voice carried from the foyer. "Emily. The Carmichaels will be here in 4 hours. This house needs to be perfect." I glanced around at the mansion my father had bought with my mother's inheritance. The home that would soon be foreclosed unless I approved their loan. "Don't worry about the Carmichaels," Marcus added with a smirk. "They won't even notice you. People like that never see the help." "Oh, Marcus. If only you knew." My real phone buzzed one more time. A message from Thomas Carmichael himself, the bank's chairman. "Ready for tomorrow, Emily? Time to show your family who's really been cleaning up their messes." I tucked my cleaning supplies under my arm and headed for the study, where my father's portrait still hung above the fireplace. He was in there now, probably rehearsing his pitch for tomorrow's loan meeting. Poor Dad. He had no idea that his housekeeper daughter would be sitting across the desk from him, holding his financial future in her hands. Victoria swept past again, this time trailing expensive perfume. And Emily? You try to make yourself scarce when the Carmichaels arrive. We wouldn't want them thinking we associate with your kind. I bent down to adjust my cleaning bucket, hiding my expression. Of course, Mrs. Harrison. I know my place. And I did. My place was at the head of the conference table tomorrow morning, watching their faces as they realized exactly who had been polishing their silver all these years. The Carmichael Bank conference room had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, leather chairs that cost more than my stepfamily's monthly credit card bills, and one perfectly positioned seat at the head of the table. My seat. I adjusted my Armani suit, quite different from yesterday's cleaning uniform, and checked my watch. 8:55 a.m. My family would be arriving any minute, fresh from last night's dinner where they'd fawned over the Carmichaels while completely ignoring their maid. My assistant Lauren knocked softly. They're here, Miss Harrison. Shall I send them in? Give me 2 minutes, I replied, turning to face the window. Let them sweat in the waiting room a bit. Through the glass wall I could see them sitting nervously in the reception area. Victoria frantically checking her makeup. Marcus straightening his tie for the 100th time. Sophia scrolling through her phone, probably looking at more things she couldn't afford. My father clutching his loan application like a lifeline. At exactly 9 a.m. I pressed the intercom. Lauren, please show in the Harrison family. I stayed facing the window as they filed in, listening to their footsteps on the expensive carpet. Victoria's designer heels. Marcus's Italian loafers. The rustle of Sophia's silk dress that still had the tags hidden inside. Please take a seat, I said, still not turning around. I understand you're here about a loan application. Yes, my father's voice shook slightly. We have all the paperwork here. If we could just speak with the CEO. You are speaking with the CEO. I turned slowly, enjoying the way their faces transformed from confusion to shock to horror. Hello, family. Lovely dinner party last night, wasn't it? The silence was absolute. Victoria's perfectly painted mouth hung open. Marcus's face had turned an interesting shade of gray. Sophia's phone clattered to the floor. Emily, my father whispered. But you're our housekeeper. Actually, I settled into my chair. I'm the chief executive officer of Carmichael Bank. The housekeeping was more of a hobby. This is impossible. Victoria stood up so quickly her chair rolled backward. You can't be, you're nothing but a maid. Sit down, Mrs. Harrison, I said quietly, my voice carrying an authority that made her drop back into her seat. Let's review your loan application, shall we? I opened the file on my desk, taking my time to flip through the pages. Interesting. You're requesting a $5 million loan to cover, and I quote, temporary business setbacks and outstanding financial obligations. Yes, Marcus jumped in, trying to regain his composure. Just until my new venture takes off. You mean the same venture that lost $800,000 last quarter? I interrupted, pulling out another report. Or perhaps you're referring to the 7 failed businesses before that. The ones funded by draining my college account. Sophia found her voice. But yesterday you were cleaning our floors. Yes, and while doing so I couldn't help but notice the collection notices hidden in your father's study. The past due statements in the mail. The credit card bills you tried to hide in that Gucci shoebox under your bed. I turned to my father. Did you really think I wouldn't recognize the signs? That I wouldn't see how Victoria and her children were bleeding you dry? Now see here, Victoria started, but I held up my hand. No, you see here. For 10 years, you've treated me like I was beneath you. Called me nothing. Mocked my ambitions. Made me clean your messes, literally and figuratively. I leaned forward. But here's the thing about being the help. We see everything. I pressed a button on my desk and the room's screens lit up with their financial records. 3 mortgages on the house. 12 maxed out credit cards. Marcus's failed businesses. Sophia's shopping addiction. Victoria's plastic surgery bills. How did you? My father's voice trailed off. I'm your bank, so Dad. Did you really think I wouldn't look into the family that destroyed my future to fund their own? Please, Victoria's voice had lost its edge. We can explain. Oh, I'm sure you can. Just like you explained why my college fund had to pay for Marcus's yacht. Or why my mother's inheritance went to Sophia's closet full of designer clothes. I stood up, walking to the window. You know what the ironic part is? If you had let me go to business school, if you had believed in me just a little, I might have helped you. But instead you made me clean your floors. The loan, my father said desperately. Can you approve it? I turned back to face them. That depends. Do you think your housekeeper is qualified to make multi-million-dollar financial decisions? Sophia burst into tears. Marcus looked like he might be sick. Victoria's face had gone from perfectly made up to completely pale. I've reviewed your application thoroughly, I continued. And I've made my decision. Emily, please, my father begged. We're family. Family. I laughed softly. Like how you were family to me. When you let Victoria destroy my dreams. When you watched me clean your house instead of pursuing my career. I sat back down, picking up their loan application. The bank's decision is no. Furthermore, given your pattern of financial mismanagement, we'll be calling in all existing loans. You have 30 days to begin repayment. But that would mean... Marcus's voice cracked. Yes. You'll lose the house. The cars. The credit cards. Everything you bought with my stolen future. Victoria stood up again, this time with fury. You can't do this to us. After everything we've done for you, Everything you've done for me? I pressed another button and security appeared at the door. You made me a housekeeper. Now I own your house. As they were let out, my father turned back. Emily, please. We can make this right. You already did, Dad. You taught me the most valuable lesson of all. Success is the best revenge. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a bank to run. I watched through the glass walls as they were escorted to the elevator, their world crumbling around them. Victoria's designer heels stumbling. Marcus's expensive suit suddenly looking cheap. Sophia's phone probably already being declined for purchases. My assistant appeared with coffee. Shall I cancel their cards now, Miss Harrison? Yes, I smiled, thinking of all the times they'd made me serve them coffee. And Lauren, send a cleaning service to their house. I quit. Sometimes revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about letting them realize that the person they thought was only good enough to clean their house now owns the bank that's foreclosing on it. And sometimes the best way to clean house is to own the bank that holds the mortgage. My phone buzzed, a desperate text from Victoria. We can work this out. Please don't do this to your family. I deleted it without replying and turned back to my work. After all, I had a bank to run. And a house to foreclose on.